Very good evening. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining Shri Bhagavad Gita Satsang. I hope you all are having a very good weekend. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. The Bhagavad Gita, the Song of the Divine. So yesterday we finished with chapter 1, which was basically introducing the characters, and we learnt about the army, who's there on whose side, and the characters called Lord Sri Krishna and Arjuna everywhere and others were introduced. So today we'll begin chapter 2. The chapter 2 is all about Sankhyayoga, that is the yoga of knowledge. So what do you understand from the first chapter? In the first chapter, it was an introduction about certain characters, and also towards once the characters were introduced, then Arjuna starts asking certain questions and he reasons out with Lord Sri Krishna. And so far, Lord Sri Krishna has not answered Arjuna. Now this is going forward, it's only going to be the dialogue between Lord Sri Krishna and Arjuna, and let us see what Lord Sri Krishna answers and imparts the most esoteric knowledge. Chapter 2, verse 1. Sanjaya said, Sri Krishna then addressed the following words to Arjuna, who was, as mentioned before, overwhelmed with pity, whose eyes were filled with tears and agitated, and who was full of sorrow. So here, remember who's Sanjaya? Sanjaya is the divine vision who's actually seeing everything that is happening in the battlefield, and he is in turn narrating whatever is happening to Dhritarashtra. Now what is he saying? He's saying Arjuna is overwhelmed, agitated, he's afraid, he's filled with fear, pity, everything, he's crying. Don't you think that we all have gone through, rather even go through, even today, when certain hard situations come about in our life, and at that time we deter, we become fearful, we don't know how to face life, how to fight it, or even to come up with a solution. We're so afraid, and we have this agitation going on in our mind, and we don't know what to do. At that time, a man completely gives up. He doesn't want to go fight. He accepts defeat. And Arjuna's condition is something like this right now. Please remember, yesterday also I was telling you all that at all the junctures in our life, this life itself is a battlefield. The Kurukshetra is this body. The battle is not just happening outside of us. The battle is also happening within us, because our mind is, creating so many situations for us, and we are unable to reason out. So what happens? We get deluded. We are afraid. We feel overwhelmed. We get agitated. We are stressed. We are depressed. I'll tell you a very simple thing that happened, Right now, last couple of weeks, there's so many things that's going on. And my Krishna Guruji, every single day he'll say, you need to do this, you need to do this. And at a point in time, what happens? The mind comes about. So when you let the mind come, the mind says, oh my God, you have so many things to do, and it overwhelms you. My Guruji taught a very simple thing. He just said, you know what? You have to do everything. You have to adapt. You have to continuously keep working. You have to write articles. You have to do your, work. You also have to do your other stuff. That doesn't mean you do one thing and you give up on the other stuff. So at that point in time, the mind just came, it tells, oh, there's too much to do. And what it does? It overwhelms a person. And then you feel you are unable to achieve anything at all. So instead of even doing one thing, you'll end up not doing anything at all. So you just give up. This is the way how these human beings are. The mind, the mind's job is to do that. But we fall prey to that, what the mind is telling us. And that is where we fail. And that time, my Krishna Guruji said something very beautiful. He just said, whatever you have to do, you have to do. Don't bother about, trying to get panicked or overwhelmed, thinking that there's too much. The overwhelming is what makes us not accomplish anything. So he just said simply, just do it. Focus, pick that one task, focus, and you will be able to accomplish. And most important thing is you need to remove that fear out of you and throw it. Why do you need to be afraid? See, right now I'm jumping a little ahead, the word called fear. Lord Shri Krishna will address this much later. I'm just saying this well in advance. What is that one thing that is driving us, right now, is that fear. So Arjuna is also very fearful. How can I fight my kith and kin? Yesterday he was only telling, what is the use of these luxuries? If it is not, why should I kill my great-grand uncles? He spoke about the entire, plethora of all of his relatives, except the fact that it is not only for his relatives he's fighting, but he's fighting for this world, his kingdom, the people. He's missing out the most important factor called, the most important, object called people. If we are not doing it for ourselves, see, that is the most important thing we need to understand. You are never doing it for yourself. You're doing it for a bigger cause, the greater cause. When that is not in front of you, you think very, in the most petty manner. The human mind is very petty. It only thinks about I, me, myself. But when you think about the world, then you'll gear up to fight, because the cause is for the goodness in this world, for everybody's well-being. So that there is a greater purpose in what we are doing. Okay? So let us continue now and see what Lord Shri Krishna is going to answer. Shri Bhagavan said, Arjuna, how has this infatuation overtaken you at this odd hour? It is shunned by noble souls. Neither will it bring heaven nor fame to you. Very valid question. Imagine a warrior like Arjuna is feeling agitated at that last moment. Have you ever gone through this? I'll tell you my own example, okay? When I have to give exams, just a couple of days before the exams, I will get exam fever. I'm sure many of you also have gone through this similar situation, whether you have to appear for some interview or CET exams, or there is some big thing that you're expecting, a result, and you're waiting for that report to come about, or any result. So what, we're very anxious, we don't know what's going to happen, we are overwhelmed, we just don't know what to do. And at such times, it is like, it's exactly like Arjuna, the situation comes about. And you know what? Then we'll say, oh, I'm going to do my paper badly. I will just give up. I don't want to write the paper. I don't want to do the exams. Have you seen small children? Sometimes they'll come and tell, Mummy, I don't want to today do it. I'm afraid of this. I'm feeling very shy. I don't want to sing. I don't want to dance. I don't want to do this. Then what does the mother say? The mother says, no, you're very capable. You're strong. You can do it. Likewise, Lord Shri Krishna, the Bhagavan, the mother, the father of this universe, he's telling Arjuna, like his child, he knows this child who's such a capable being, noble soul, he's now overtaken by grief, overtaken by infatuation. And he's saying, I can't fight. This happens to us day in and day out. Many times we don't succeed or we don't face life because of this reason. We think, how can we do this? Why should we fight? What is that we are going to achieve by fighting? The mind is going to give you n number of reasons. But what you fail to understand is, it is your duty to fight. You're born with certain duties, and doing that duty is the most important aspect. See here, this whole chapter is about knowledge. When I say duty, that is about karma. And that is, again, Lord Shri Krishna is going to talk about it. To attaining the divine, there are different paths. Here, he's teaching the path of knowledge, then he will teach the path of duty, which is karma, and then the path of bhakti, which is love and devotion. But you know what? The most beautiful thing is, no matter what you do, we say, oh, love and devotion, the path of bhakti is very easy. Whether you choose the path of bhakti, though it is easy, but please remember, to attain the pure bhakti is not actually easy. And when you are a bhakt, you still have to do your duty as the body. And you need knowledge. So whether you like it or not, knowledge is a must. The right knowledge is a must. Doing your duty is absolutely critical. and then you have to be devoted. The love and devotion is extremely important. So here the Bhagavan is asking Arjuna, how come, such a capable being, great warrior, you have already fought many wars. Just imagine, Arjuna had fought so many wars, and that this war he's fighting after the 14 years of, going through that going in the jungle for 14 years. They go to the forest, and then they're coming back, and now he's telling, I can't fight. A great warrior is saying like this. Can you imagine? This is our condition. But who makes this happen? It is only your mind. You think you're incapable. We have all the inadequacies. And the mind's job is always, to show you the downside. But it's never going to show you the upside. And here, Lord Shri Krishna is going to teach you how do you train your mind. Train your mind. How do you control your mind? It is by handing over the reins in the hands of the Divine Lord, the Bhagavan. He's there he's your charioteer. He will guide you, but you need to just listen to him and not allow the mind to come. That is what he's going to teach us. So here the Lord is saying, neither will it bring heaven nor fame to you. By doing this, whether it will neither bring you heaven nor any fame to you. So you can, even if you die and say, I'm not going to fight, even if you call off the war, it's not going to give you any heaven. You will not even going to attain the heaven. Why? Because he's falling off his duties. So how will he attain the heaven? And then no fame. Everybody will condemn him, right? Oh, look at this coward. He didn't fight. At the last minute, he gave up. That's how the world will talk. But Duryodhana and all his enemies are ready to fight. Imagine, they are also his kith and kin. But they are not thinking about it. They are ready to fight. And they are doing their duty. Whereas Arjuna here, he doesn't want to do his duty. Have you ever seen I'm sure this is something we all go through. In every household, there is, this property issues when your parents, die, and then there is some properties and you have your siblings. There is always that somebody is going to get more or less, and we're always fighting. We're at each other's throat. Oh, why should he be given? He didn't take care of my father or mother. Why should he be given or she be given? We always go through this. Even at work, we feel that, oh, somebody is getting more salary. I've been given less salary. So there's always this disparity there. And does it mean that you have to give up? No. Whatever is right, you have to do at that moment in time. Doesn't mean somebody is getting more, somebody is getting less, but you have to fight for it. See, the most important lesson which Lord Shri Krishna is going to impart us is that the end result is never in our hands. What is the outcome, we cannot predict. Doing alone is our duty. And that is what he's telling Arjuna also. You can't last minute at this moment in time get infatuated, agitated and say that I'm not going to fight the war. And he's given fantastic reasons. Don't we also give reasons? We also do. And this situation, I find it so funny and interesting as well, that many years ago, when my Krishna Guruji used to teach me certain things, I also was afraid of life. I was afraid about what is going to happen to my future, what is going to happen. But you know what? This is where the aspect called the faith comes in. When the Guru is with you, can anything befall? Not at all. That is the kind of faith and conviction we just need to have. Surrender to the Divine Lord. What can befall us? Nothing shall, befall, or there can be no harm caused to us when we have surrendered to the will of the Divine Lord. We just have to fight in this world. And that is what we fail to understand. So let us continue. Yield not to unmanliness. Very true, Arjuna. This does not become you. Shaking off this base faint-heartedness, stand up, O scorcher of enemies. So what is he saying here? Faint-heartedness. Why are you having faint-heartedness? You have to become manliness. Have your manliness. Why are you now at this moment in time becoming so weak and fragile? You're showing your, the very weak qualities. You're the one who can destroy any kind of enemies. Stand up. Don't show this faint-heartedness at this moment in time. We become weak. That this happens to us when we have to, fight within our own family. We get emotion. Oh, how can I, say something to my elder brother. These parents are also there. Oh, you shouldn't be talking like this to your elders. You shouldn't do this. Even though that person is wrong, doing wrong things, they still expect that others have to be saint. No, that doesn't mean I'm saying that you should back answer or say bad things. Never ever. But you have to stand up for what is righteous. That is exactly what is important. That doesn't mean somebody is killing you and you're just saying, okay, come kill me. Doesn't work like that. You have to defend. You have to stand up for what is right. You got to put your facts and figures. You have to fight whatever that cause might be, but in the righteous manner. That doesn't mean you have to call names to someone or say bad things or behave in the way they will behave, like stoop down to that level. Not at all. On the contrary, you have to be your good self, but you have to do your duty of fighting. If you're getting something less, if you're getting an unfair deal, you have to stand up and ask. You have to fight for that. I'll tell you a very beautiful thing that happened to me many years ago when I was working in one of the companies in my past in Singapore. It so happened that I got an unfair rating. It's called annual rating. And at that time, I was quite upset. I didn't know how to face. This is what happens. You become very weak at that time. Faint-heartedness comes. Oh, how am I going to? My boss is really bad. We give reasons. We call people bad. All that we do. At that time, my Guruji just said something very beautiful. Just go and put your facts and figures. What have you done? You just highlight all that and just take it up with your manager. And if you don't take it up, how are you going to resolve? Because you can't accept that rating. And this exactly what Arjuna is right now here describing. Lord Sri Krishna is describing and telling him that weak faint-heartedness comes in us. And we're very reluctant. I don't want, just let it be. I just want to ignore. You become a miserable being. You don't know how to get out of the situation because we are always afraid to fight. We're afraid to face our life. We don't want to, solve situations in a very nice manner. And this is exactly what my Guruji taught. There is always the method to solve every problem. You can find solutions. But fighting doesn't mean we are going to go yell at somebody and do all that. No. I have done my job, which means I have to put my facts and figures. I have to take it up for a discussion with my manager and reason it out. What is the basis of that rating? Why has he given me that rating? And then you have to sort it out. And this is exactly what I did, though I was feeling, I felt afraid. But I don't know why. Because I felt that my boss is going to say something, bad to me. It doesn't matter. And that strength at that moment in time I didn't have, but somehow I mustered the courage. I wrote those, I wrote that email, I sent that email out and I had a conversation. And in that conversation, I was able to achieve the objective of getting a better rating. Why? Because I did gather all the data, right? The facts. But if I wouldn't have done it, I was going to accept defeat. Wouldn't I have become this faint-heartedness and failed? But that is not what the Divine Lord teaches. He's telling you have to do what is right at that moment in time. That is exactly what Lord Sri Krishna is telling Arjuna. You can't just sit down and say, oh, this is how it is, and blame the whole world, blame my boss, blame everybody. No, that incident taught me that I should never be afraid of anything. I need to always have my facts and figures and solve things in a most, amicable manner. Sometimes people do certain things. We don't know the reasons, whys and wherefores. That doesn't mean you accept everything. But despite that, if the outcome would have been, maybe I get a better rating or I wouldn't have got it. But whatever it is, I did my job. The duty of fighting that. That is more important. The end result doesn't matter. I was not sure whether I was going to get the better rating or not. But yes, it happened. So well and good. But at the end of the day, this taught me a very, very, very powerful lesson. That, standing up for what you believe in is very important. But you need to have, your facts and figures that you want to bring up and solve an issue in a very nice manner is extremely critical. Okay? But if you don't do that, then in life you will always be a loser. You're going to be always afraid of things, facing situations, facing life, facing people. I've seen many people, they might have fought great wars. But in real time, in life, when they have to face certain situation and people, they'll hide behind the back. They will never want to come up and face things in a very nice manner. No, we don't do this and we'll complicate things. There is no need to complicate anything. It is simply about you have to fight a war, you have to fight a war. There are no two ways about it. That is what it is. And in our life, see, every day we battle. Our wars are very small, we are not talking about a Mahabharat war. And this Mahabharat is not happening up, like I said, somewhere outside. There is no Kurukshetra anywhere. This body is a Kurukshetra. First, you need to fight your mind. And that's the biggest war that you're fighting. The next aspect is fighting people around, right? It's not about fighting. It's about how do you live. And there are going to be situations which you have to address, you have to fight. That is extremely important. I'm sure everybody can resonate. And everybody's challenge or the battles that they have to fight is very different. So stand up for whatever that you have to, what you believe in and what you have to do. And do it. Fight the war in your life. Don't just sit and give up and then whine like Arjuna does. Oh, I don't want to. I'm going to give. I'm going to accept defeat. That's not the answer to life. God has given this life so that we can win and become somebody great in this life. That is the reason why He's given us this human birth. So, Arjuna said, how, Krishna, shall I fight Bhishma and Drona with arrows on the battlefield? They are worthy of deepest reverence, O destroyer of foes. Wow, that's a very interesting question which Arjuna is asking. And today is being a teacher's day. Oh, that's a very beautiful thing. We acknowledge our teachers, right? The material worldly teachers, mentors, who have done great things for us. But here, Arjuna's question is valid. But did Dronacharya or Bhishma think that he's going to fight his students or his mentees? Not at all. See, they are doing their swadharma. They are doing their duty so perfectly. But here Arjuna is saying, how can I fight them? You have to fight. Even if they are your teacher, in the sense in the material world, if there is something that you have to take up, maybe at times it's not about the right and the wrong aspect. If you have to do something, which means if your teacher is whom you have to confront for anything, you will have to face that, right? How can you say, I cannot fight my teachers or I cannot fight my my mentors in life? You can't say that at all. You will have to, because at all times, it doesn't mean that they are your enemy. No, you're fighting the war of righteousness. What does it mean? It's not about fighting something evil or bad. We are fighting the war of righteousness. If there is certain unrighteous act happening, you have to stand up to that. And even if it means you're standing up alone and you're standing up against the whole world, that is what Lord Shri Krishna says here. And please remember, who is with Arjuna? Lord is there. When you're fighting the war of righteousness, please always remember, Lord Shri Krishna is with you. So why fear? Like Sai Baba says in his Poti, why fear when I'm here? And this is what Arjuna doesn't understand. Like we all, the Arjuna is you and I, because we don't have the knowledge that the Lord is with us. And there is no need for us to be afraid. It is better to live on alms in this world by not slaying these noble elders, because even after killing them, we shall after all enjoy only blood-stained pleasures in the form of wealth and sense enjoyments. Oh, look at who's talking and what is he saying? He's saying, oh, I rather beg and live on alms in this world. Is that how the world works? The rule of the, like the Lord's world is created in a certain way, okay? That is how the world is made of. But it is not for us to define what is right and what is wrong. And that's exactly what Bhagavan Shri Krishna is going to teach us. We believe this is right and this is wrong. Whose knowledge is this? This is Arjuna telling. And where has he learned from? See, Lord Shri Krishna has not taught him yet, okay? Now, all this knowledge that he thinks about the right and the wrong is coming only from the material worldly, his Raj Guru or his Kul Guru, who have taught him. Like Dronacharya has taught him the art of war, how to use the weapons, how to become the great warrior. That is what he has given him. But he doesn't have the spiritual knowledge or the truth about life, which is what Lord Shri Krishna is going to teach him now. Or Bhishma Pitama is only talking about how do you live, how do you be spiritually, how do you practice spirituality in your life? You have to be spiritual, believing in God and doing all your duties, those kind of things, your spiritual practices. But actual spirituality, nobody has taught. Arjuna still doesn't know, right? Like you and me, we didn't know. The reason why we were all afraid is because we've never understood the truth about life. What is right and what is wrong. All the right and wrongs that we, or the good and bad that we know in our life, is taught by our ignorant parents and people around who are also ignorant beings, because they don't know. Neither our forefathers or nobody has taught us that. We only understand the material ways, okay? But that is not the truth. That is exactly what Arjuna is also telling Lord Sri Krishna. But let us see what is Lord going to tell him. This is his reasoning. And please remember, everybody is right from their point of view in the way they reason out, because that is all the knowledge they have. And that is also, that knowledge is full of ignorance, because that is only how you have interpreted something. That doesn't mean that is what it is. We do not even know which is preferable for us, to fight or not to fight. Nor do we know whether we shall win or whether they will conquer us. Those very sons of Dhritarashtra, killing whom we do not even wish to live, stand in the enemy ranks. Okay, look at what is he saying. This is called the confusion of mind. We do not know which is preferable, right? To fight or not to fight. This is called the dilemma that you go through. Have you ever gone through this? I'm sure everybody goes through this. The dilemma. Should I do this or not do this? In every small thing, to take a decision is very difficult. Why? Because we always are in this dilemma. Is this right or is this wrong? Most important. What will happen if I take this decision? Will I win or will I fail? Will I become successful? Will I get the money or not money? Will I lose this or will I win? This is the constant conflict that we have. We never take the firm decision, but what is one thing missing in us is this knowledge, which the Lord is going to impart, that the success or failure is never in our hands. The end result is never in our hands. The good and the bad, we are nobody to ascertain. Please remember, what is good from our point of view might be bad for somebody else, and what is bad to somebody else is good to us. So it's only a point of view. This is exactly what my Krishna Guruji has taught. It's about, you might like some dish, which is, you just love it. But the same dish to some person might be allergic. So they might be, you might like sweet basundi. Lord Sri Krishna's favorite sweet, we just made for Krishna Janmashtami. But to someone who's lactose intolerant, that milk might be like a poison. So does it mean it's good or bad? No, it's only the point of view. So how can we make judgment? How can we think something is right and wrong? So that is why in the further chapter, Lord is going to teach us, to have equanimity of mind. And my Krishna Guruji has taught something very beautiful, When people praise us, we always feel elated. Oh, that person is nice. Why? Because he's putting you on pedestal. He praises you. He or she praises you. So we feel so excited. Oh, somebody said nice things about me. Same person, let them say something bad about you. Then what happens? You're already disturbed. Oh, look at the person. How dare that person say these bad things about me? So we do yo-yo. So did that object change or your perspective change? Why? Because you heard something. He's saying some interesting word. He's saying we shall after all enjoy only bloodstained pleasures in the form of wealth and sense enjoyments. What is the sense enjoyments? You heard. You heard good and bad. Sense enjoyments. And that made a difference in the way you looked at the same object became bad to you. What was good became bad. So, is there a problem in the object or is the problem in your way of looking at it or understanding it? And that is exactly why my Krishna Guruji will teach us, never sway. When somebody praises you, think that they are saying all the bad things about you. And when somebody is saying, when somebody is saying something's bad about you, think that they are praising you. And that way, you will not sway whether if there's somebody is, praising you or if they're calling you names. So praise and ignominy should not have any difference to you. So you're always centered. That is what is required. That is called the oneness. That is called, equanimity. And when you do that, then you have that sthir. That is the stable. The mind is focused. It's centered. And it's not such an easy thing to achieve because we always have this habit of feeling elated when somebody praises you, say, oh, you look so beautiful. Look at your sari, look at your dress, you're wearing nice jewelry. Oh God, we think no end of ourselves. And what happens later? Sometimes they'll say, oh, look at how ugly you're dressed today. All the praise is gone. No way. And then, your perception of that person, that object is already, gone. Now you're made a judge. you've judged that person, you're already biased. Why do you need to be? And this is a very important lesson which is going to impart as we evolve. So now, it is nothing for Arjuna to say this, okay? He's just trying to reason out, noble elders, all this. Because he believes that is what it is. But you know what? The noble elders are not thinking like that. Because they know that they have to perform their duty. If there is a war and whosoever side on behalf they have to fight, they will have to fight their enemies. Even if it means their own relatives. We do not even know, okay, which is preferable for us to fight or not to fight. Nor do we know whether we shall win or lose. Those very sons of Dhritarashtra, killing whom we do not even wish to live, stand in the enemy ranks. So what is he saying? When we kill our own enemies, we become enemies. That's how he's looking at it. You know, we do not even want to wish to live. So this is his attachment. This is called emotions. The emotions saying that it's my relative, I have to fight my relative, I have to fight my family. You know, this Mahabharat war, let me tell you, is there in everybody's life. Whether it is in your professional world, whether it is your personal world, and in your spiritual world as well. You have to literally face this Mahabharat, the Kurukshetra, which happens in this body. You know, which is to fight the evil and attain the divine. And what are these evils? The evils are your desires, anger, lust, greed, all that. And this is very, beautifully explained by Lord Sri Krishna in detail in the coming chapters. So I'm not going to touch upon it, but let's continue now. With my very being smitten by the vice of faint-heartedness and my mind puzzled with regard to duty, I beseech you, tell me that which is decidedly good. I am your disciple. Pray, instruct me who have taken refuge in you. This is exactly what happens to us also. In life, when we don't know what to do, when we can't take a decision and we don't know what exactly do at that moment in time, where do we go? We seek God, or we go to God for answers, or if you have a guru, you will go to him. Your Guruji it's a very funny thing. I'm laughing because even when the Guruji gives you the answer, you will still not be convinced. He's already given you the answer. Like Arjuna, he's still going to continue, and that is why the 18 chapters, though the Lord has given him the answer, just fight, lift your bow and arrow and shoot. Okay, that's all the answer. Just do it. There is nothing more than that. But Arjuna will still keep asking, I am confused. I don't understand. Have you ever, go back and just think about yourself, and you will understand that even to your guru, you might have gone many a time. He's actually given you the answer, but we're never convinced. Our mind still throws doubts. And then we'll say, Guruji, can you please explain? I don't know what exactly to do. You tell me, I am confused. I don't understand you. I don't know what you're saying. Exactly what Arjuna says. Or we'll go to God. And the worst come, if you don't have a guru who can you talk and ask questions, you'll go and take refuge at the feet of God, like he says, I beseech you, tell me that which is decidedly good. So he'll say, God, only you know what is good for me. Is it a deja vu? And he's saying, I am your disciple. Pray, instruct me, who have taken refuge in you. But even after Lord Sri Krishna telling you, he doesn't want to understand, he doesn't want to listen. Why? His mind is not letting that instruction to go through, imbibe. It's not even, it's not absorbing. It's just like, I don't want to listen. It's a strong firewall. My Guruji will always say, between you and me, there's a strong thing which is called the mind. And that's the mind you have to overcome. At least control, surrender, and just, do whatever is ordained to you. That is all you have to do. But the mind is never going to allow you to listen. And this is a big problem that we have. Many a time, my Krishna Guruji will say, do this, But we will always end up doing something exactly opposite to what he instructs. Why does that happen? Have you ever wondered? Have you ever thought about? The reason why that happens is because our mind doesn't want you to evolve. Doesn't want you to listen to the divine. So it always overpowers. So it's always giving you something opposite that you have to do. So every time my Guruji will say, don't do this, you will exactly want to do the same thing which he has asked you not to do it. and then you'll get yourself into more troubles. And when he says, do this, you will exactly don't want to do that, and you'll do something completely opposite of it, or you'll refrain from doing that action itself. So which is going to it could cause some delays, it could put you into some more problems. So who's creating more troubles for ourselves? It's our own mind. And this is exactly what we have not realized. And another most beautiful thing in all of this is, what is the thing that, oh, all this is only happening to me. Martyrdom comes in. Oh, why is this only happening to me? Look at everybody so happy. We again look at other people's lives and we judge. Why is my life so bad? Look at God. He doesn't even have mercy on me. All this is only happening to me. Why should this happen to me? Why only me? That is how we think. But you know what? What you don't seem to understand is it happens to everybody. In their own capacity, everybody is going through. You take a chairman of a big company, he has to face so many different issues. He's fighting, he has to ensure that his employees are taken care, his board of directors are asking him for profits, the investors are going to come and sit on his head. There's so much more he has to go through. He's battling every single day. And at home, he must be facing, his wife will say, you don't even give me time. His children might say, oh, I need this, I need that, and he doesn't have time for anybody. So his life is he has much bigger battles to fight. But we think, no, look at him, he's such a rich man, what for him? Our way of looking at life is very different. But please remember, everybody has to have to face their own music, we say. But they are all fighting their own battles in their own capacity. So don't think that this is only happening to you. It's not happening to you alone. It is happening with everybody. But what is the most beautiful thing? That how do you overcome these things? How do you live life in the most beautiful manner? By understanding the truth. And when you understand the truth, then life will become very beautiful. Actually, life is very beautiful. It's about how you look at it, how you perceive life. That is what it matters. So don't think that, today we think, oh, I don't have a job. Look, God is so merciless and he gives job to everybody. Look at him. He has given him so much of salary. But to me, God is not giving and I need money now. I don't have money. All these things comes. And then what happens? The faith goes for a toss. God is, he doesn't favor. He favors every other person but doesn't do anything for me. Then you start blaming the God. This is it's very easy. The moment you think, oh, why should this happen to me? Why is this happening to me? And then what your mind says, look at this God. He's only against you. The mind instigates you against God. This is another very important thing that you need to know. Never allow that to happen. And then what is your mind going to say? The God is only favoring other people. And then what happens? That one doubt is like a potassium cyanide put in the bottle of Ganga water. Then how can you reach God? That little doubt, that one tiny dot of doubt destroys that entire faith. So the faith is not 99.99%, it is 100%. And this is where we fail. And getting that kind of conviction and faith is not so easy. And that is why the aspect called God realization or self-realization is not so easy. Because the conviction that I am the divinity doesn't exist alone. You're always thinking that you're, some petty human being on this planet Earth. You are like the cockroach. Sorry, the word cockroach comes because my Guruji always says, cockroach. We think ourselves like we are very low people. We have to respect ourselves. My Guruji always says, empower the divine being within you. You're a capable being. Why do you think you are incapable? I know someone recently was telling how this person was doing so many things before marriage. But once marriage happened, then once the child comes into your life, you have prioritized everything else except yourself. You have stopped working, you have stopped doing things that you love, and then you become a miserable being. Isn't that a battle of your own life? And then who do you blame? You start blaming everybody else except yourself. Why? Because you have stopped it. Who has asked you to stop? Who has told you not to work? Who has told you not to do what you have supposed to do? Why do you think and then this word comes in. I listen, we all go through at some point in time. I'm the doormat. I've become like a doormat, People use me. They use me, my child uses me. I'm a doormat to my child. I'm a servant to my child, my husband, my family. But you know what? Why do you think like that? That you're a servant or a doormat? Can you not empower yourself? Become the boss of that family. You are the boss. You are the family, and why don't you think that you're doing for yourself? You're serving for yourself. And until you don't take charge of your own life, can anybody make a difference? See, here also, Lord Sri Krishna is a charioteer. He's only a witness. He is not doing anything. He can only guide you. But who has to lift the bow and arrow and shoot? It is you who has to do that. There is nobody outside of you who can do that. And this is the truth that you need to understand. And when you understand this truth, then you will understand what are the capabilities that is existing within you. And then you will wake up and do something about your life. But first, you need to wake up. And now, here, what is Arjuna asking? Like all of us, finally, when we don't know, when we feel we are completely lost, when we think that we don't have an answer and we have hit the rock bottoms or dead end, that time we'll go to the temple, go to the God, go to the Guru and say, please, I am your disciple, I surrender, please instruct. Only you know what is good for me. And then we'll say the Lord to take care of us. And then let us see what has happened, what happens after that. For even on obtaining undisputed sovereignty and an affluent kingdom on this earth and lordship over the gods, I do not see any means that can drive away the grief which is drying up my senses. So again Arjuna is continuing. It's the same. We keep on, it's like those, have you seen the gramophone? Goes round and round and round. Like that. We keep repeating the same thing. We keep whining. It's called complaining, whining. We do the same thing over and over and over again. Here also, Lord Shri Krishna just said one word. He has just said to him, how can you, a warrior, talk like this? But here Arjuna is going on giving him so many reasons. You and I also do this. How many reasons does our mind come up with? Endless. And here we are saying, oh, grief has stricken. You want to be depressed. We'll say, oh, today I don't feel like eating. I don't feel like cooking. I don't want to do. Not. I don't want. Have you ever been motivated all the time? My Guruji will say, today, I have not found anybody who is so charged throughout that they want to, do things consistently. We have this yo-yo, ups and downs. Some days we are on the higher side, we are top of the world, feeling great, and we think we want to do it. Some days we are on the very low, we're literally feeling very low, absolutely low. Oh, my life is not worthy of living. That's exactly what Arjuna is come to, the grief. He's completely grief-stricken. And he just says to the Lord, now you only guide. And after that, he'll still say, oh, I don't want this sovereignty. I don't want this affluent kingdom on this earth, lordship over the gods. I do not see any means. And that can drive away the grief. He's only saying, oh, I don't know how else will the grief go. Okay. So with this, let us end today's satsang over here. And if you have any questions, please write to us on our WhatsApp number, or you can even send a message on the messenger, or even you can comment. We will continue next weekend, same time, Saturday and Sunday, 6:30 to 7:30 India time. Thank you once again for joining Sri Bhagavad Gita Satsang. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha, Om Shri Gurudev Datta, Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Digambara Digambara, Shripad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Guru Nathanata, Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha, Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum.